My name's Kane Vincent Dyer, and I robbed over 100 banks between 1999 and 2001.
That's
This
like
is how
a bank every
crime
4
works.
days. Guys, that's like a bank every 4 days.
For anyone out there that is watching this and you think you're gonna go commit bank robberies the way I did, or I'm telling you in here, you're gonna find yourself in jail. Leave bank robbery alone. So one of the things that I would do initially when I walk into a bank is walk in and go straight to the merchant teller, because I always knew that the merchant teller would more than likely have the most amount of currency. We've watched so many movies where people are like, hey, put your hands in the air.
Taz? Is there any Taz? Yo, shit! Mods, Taz. What the fuck? They have AKs and shit.
I think people naturally go to do that when they hear, hey, this is a robbery. The reasoning for me asking them to put their
Doing science with Yamina Yalawi Kappa.
Guys, is it Taz? No Taz, right?
hands down, or telling them to put their hands down, is because you didn't want someone walking past the bank and seeing someone standing in a bank with their hands up or laying on the floor. So it was always just put your head down, keep looking forward. That way, if someone did walk into the bank, they wouldn't even really realize what was going on until they were already in it. And what that would kind of do is it would let me read the temperature of the room. It would let me see if the people were either very compliant or very slow to move, or if they seem
Taz got robbing 100 banks, but he's free.
nervous and scared, then I would kind of tailor how I would express myself after that, trying to be more calming. And, you know, unfortunately, if, you know, things were moving kind of slower, I would probably be a little bit more aggressive to the overall crowd. Checking the temperature, doing that one teller, I knew that one merchant teller, I knew if I decided not to go in the vault, that I would still have a reasonable, you know, outcome for the payday.
Go in the vault?
That merchant teller, along with the manager, is the person I would have walk me into a vault. And like I said, if they were just a little too afraid or anything, then there are times where, you know, I wouldn't go into the vault.
That's kind of wicked, though.
Typically, I picked banks that were close to merchants. That way, I knew that that bank would more than likely be the banker for all those merchants that were there. And that would mean that that bank would more than likely
stop being
have
RPN'd.
more
I'm trying to watch
cash
the video,
on it.
motherfuckers.
The other thing was, it always had to be a bank that was relatively close to multiple interstates. And one of the other things was
The vault,
how
guys.
the bank was set up. Were there multiple ways that I could
Did you
exit,
buy the laptop?
enter, or
You done?
exit?
You want to get banned, dude?
Like, casing a bank would consist of me watching the employees. And I would always watch to see who looked like they were in the most control. So sometimes I'd case a bank for a day and a half, and then go, you know, if it was a bigger bank. And I would watch the flow. I'd watch the timing of the flow. I'd watch the pickup. I took probably, I don't know, a few weeks, a month off, and just taught myself everything about banks. At that time, got in a hold of all different types of bank manuals, you know, employee manuals, employee guides, everything.
This is pretty good.
Lock safes, time vaults.
What's the time vault? Hey, what is that? What's the time vault, man?
During my bank robberies, as far as attire would go, I would just always try and fit in whatever element was present. It was always pretty much just dressing down, you know, jeans, a jacket, trying not to stand out too much. I definitely used the crazy glue to protect my fingertips. and my palms, I would always wear a pair of glasses, always a baseball cap, and that seemed to cover enough. The
26
mascara
months really enjoy
would
your
be
streams xQcOW.
basically, it depended where I was. If I was in a place where there are more ethnic people, I would typically do a beard. If I was in a place where there were less ethnic people, I would more so sometimes going clean shaven or a really light shave. I would actually look at weather conditions because, of course, in an area where it's going to be raining or overcast, you know, you can layer more. If it was sunny outside, there are a lot more people out. So there's probably more chances for me even to blend in. On a rainy day, though you get to bundle up, you still get to know that there are
but how
a
much
lot
does
of
a
people
bank
out.
actually
So
hold in its
people are gonna
vault plus
probably
at the
be looking
cashier
at
though?
you. In certain
what would be your
cities,
max
you had
payout?
to account for different times that I would be
Like
going
100K?
into a bank, not getting stuck in a rush hour traffic. Though there were banks that I absolutely
chat, I
would
hope
do at
you all
rush
have a
hour
good
just
weekend.
because.
Remember that you all love
Chat!
xQcOW.
Stop! I want you to video. Dude, I'm so tired. I'm trying to chat. I'm trying to interact with the chat. I'm trying to. Chris is trying to interact. I'm having a lot of fun. 4 ink, 330 bags, 5 ink. What is wrong with you, man?
There was a lot of traffic.
I'm watching a video, dude.
So we've seen in movies that cops have this response time of about 3 to 5 minutes. And that's pretty accurate. That is not just Hollywood. So I would park across the, street or in some direction where I wasn't alone, standing out by myself. My car wasn't the only one. And I always used a car that would fit in. Something that was really typical, that you would just see a lot of. What I would always try and do is make sure that wherever I was parked, that it would not be in view of anyone that would be standing in a bank or immediately outside of a bank. So I always gave myself enough space.
But how do you get that car though? No, just stop. Just stop. Act like I didn't say anything, man.
So when exiting a bank.
Okay, I'm done. One more of this. Guys, we're watching something else or something. I'm going to go to game time.
Then
man,
I would trot a little bit further.
I'm actually done.
In front of a bank trotting. As soon as I'm in my car and my mascara is off, I turn on my radio, roll down my windows, take off my hat, and I'm singing. I've got music on. Cops pass me. I'm looking at them. They're looking at me because what they're actually looking for is the guy that's not looking at them. Listen, when a bunch of cops roll past you, or even fire trucks, what do? We all look. So the one guy they're looking for is the guy who won't look at them. As they're driving to it, they're looking to see if anybody's trying to ignore them personally, typically. How I would end up checking for die packs was different depending on what type of money I took. If it was just the merchant teller, then of course that...
What is that? The man's is on powder or some shit.
If it was just...
What the fuck is that?
The merchant teller, then of course that money is loose. Even though it's in stacks, it's still loose. So what I would do is once I got all my mascara and things off and I was set and ready to drive, I would literally put a bag of money next to me and go through it and then throw that money kind of like on the floor. I would get back to my stakeout and I would go through all the money, taking my clothes, making sure they were burned, putting my fingers in solution so I could get the crazy glue off. I would hide the money in several different places.
Didn't rent a Sanchez, no hostage. This guy
to
is
be
a
a little bit more
grinder, Andy,
specific,
for
there
real,
was
for
this
real.
one place that I had opened up the floor of it. I don't know, at one point there had to just millions of dollars in this floor. There were a couple of times I actually put money in like a bank vault, in like a safety deposit box. Wouldn't that have been ironic had there been a bank robbery and it gotten stolen, huh?
Jesus.
The way I ended up getting
millions?
into bank robbery, a very, very close person to me, a relative, a sibling, had gotten involved with a criminal
I guess stop, dude.
there was just no way.
In the floor, it's scuffed.
You know, it would have been a matter of life or death. You know, have this debt not
15
been
prime.
paid, taken care of, the person would have lost their life. Those first set of banks that paid off that debt, those 6 though were a lot less
dongles,
preparation
raised
and
eyebrow.
more desperation. Initially, I felt bank robbery was this victimless crime. I thought it would just be a better
I
crime
heard
to
that
commit.
Wrangler eventually
I felt like
caught
I was
him.
taking from an institution versus a person, which I wouldn't have done. My first bank, I was literally just
MG
looking
chat, this
for
guy is
any
telling
bank.
us to stop, but after this
Going
fight, he
down
is
the
going to
freeway
get
and
inspiration
actually
from
had to
watching
use
this
the
to log on to
restroom. So I
GTA to
pulled
rob a
off the
bank to
freeway.
only to
This
go
is
to jail.
Calabasas exit. I pulled in there to go to the restroom. I ended up parking, and right in front of me were 2 banks. There was a Chase, and there was a Wells Fargo. And I sat there for a time period trying to determine which one I should go in, just watching the flow of people. I had this baseball cap and stuff, and I kind of pumped myself up. Had this firearm with me.
This is
and
the
heading
boring. This is
towards the
interesting,
bank.
man.
And as I get towards the bank, 2 things happen. One, there was this lady who was at the bank that seemed pregnant to me. And it was just like, I can't go in there while a pregnant lady's in there. She gets
Okay,
scared
he robbed
and,
100
the
banks.
baby's harmed. So
But
I was
did
like,
he
why?
rob the casino?
Jesus.
I
Kinda
think
turned
not.
back.
CB on top.
And as I went to turn back, there was this car window right
Yo.
there. And I look in the car window and I notice, oh my God,
3-minute
can
response time.
totally see
Sounds
myself.
like
I can
metagaming.
make myself out. So I went to this store that was miles down the road. I ended up getting this backpack. And I also got some mascara and some crazy glue to put on my fingertips as not to leave.
Guys, guys.
fingerprints.
Just, I did.
Anyone
It's just,
walk up to the
dude.
bank with gloves
This is
on,
just getting out of control,
which is,
man.
to me, pretty obvious. It was a sunny afternoon. There was that chord while I was at this store that just kind of struck me like, what if someone tries to stop me? It made me purchase a replica, like an air gun or something like that, but it looked very, very authentic. So I purchased that and decided to use that in the robbery instead. Realizing that I probably needed a bigger bag, so I ended up grabbing this backpack. I realized that
Jesus.
the backpack had these double zippers that I could partially open that would make it like a perfect sack. That would be
It kind of looks like the fucking, like the movie The Place Beyond the Pines,
Hence the name, Kangaroo Bandit.
where Gosling goes in with the fucking helmet on and robs in and lives on a
When
fucking bike.
my consciousness started to awaken again. I think I could no longer hide.
Oh, chat.
behind the
How is he
life
supposed
and
to do the
death
laptop hacks with crazy
and
glue
the
all over
danger
his
that was
fingertips?
there before, I know if I would have kept doing it, I would have got caught. When I decided to turn myself in, of course I let my family know first, and then my attorney and we contacted the FBI. And
Wait, really?
at first they were like, yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. What I did not know at that time was someone had already kind of given them my name. I contacted them on a Wednesday and had planned on meeting them on a Friday. And instead they were like, no, we're not waiting on you to come in. They did this huge raid on my home.
The looks are going to be
Thursday
today,
night.
Fleeko. Palaver
But
with a vault, or
the
if you're
only way
daring to
they
go
were
bid the
able to take me
casino,
in is if they
don't
found
forget
something
about the
else
back and raid garage and check the weather.
on that search warrant, which they weren't able to find. Before he left, though, he and I had this conversation, he being the FBI agent. So I told him, I'm going to take some time to go spend with my family. And then when I'm
They
ready,
didn't
I'm gonna
find him
turn
because he
myself
had
in.
popped.
And I was letting him know, don't worry, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to bolt, man. I'm going to keep my word. I told you I'd keep my word and turn myself in. And I ended up doing that. So when he saw me and I saw him after I had greeted my family, I actually walked up to him and we kind of embraced. We actually hugged each other.
Huh?
I surrendered. It was like, okay, now I begin my life.
Whoa,
Well, I
Fib,
did not
Agent
understand
Bench Guy.
back in that time the psychological tolls that the victims suffered, the heavy cost I was having others pay
Huh?
to get out of the situation I was in.
So did you get a deal then?
And
100
so
banks is a
what
lot of
I've
fucking banks,
done
man.
In an attempt to rectify that or to make right, I've worked
He's
with
got the
victims.
whole was you,
I've
the
worked
Browning,
with
the duffel,
ex-offenders.
scuff ties.
and
He's just missing a Martin.
Hopefully, any victim that suffered at
You liquors
my
100
hands
bags.
and
But has he
because
got
of
a
my
prostitution
actions,
charge?
kitchen.
you know, maybe they can take some comfort in knowing that today I actually, you know, I've tried to wrong that. I didn't try. I like to think I am righting those wrongs. Volunteered for years. For almost 4 years straight, I volunteered 4 days a week, 4 hours a day to help people get their lives back, whether
Interesting.
it's an inmate or a victim.
Guys, I guess I kind of want to know, guys, what kind of deal he got, and what kind of leverage he had with the FBI after robbing 100 banks.